Hey guys and gals, welcome to RacerXOnline.com. I'm Kris Keefer, and you are staring at our latest garage build. That's right, Race Tech and Ride Engineering went to work and helped us create a minimal build on the Honda CRF250R. Honda came in with a new 250 this year, basically matches the frame, matches the 450. A lot of the changes made were made towards the 450 side of things, but there are some improvements that needed to be made. I felt like it needed a little bit more low to mid-range hit, and a lot of you guys are complaining how harsh the suspension is. So those are some of the things we worked on here, so I'll rip them off for you guys right now. Akrapovic Evolution Muffler System. We decided to use this because, one, quality made, the fitment is really good, and it's on the expensive side as far as mufflers go. But, man, I can tell you what, the muffler packing lasts longer than any other aftermarket muffler out there. You can run 30 hours on this thing, and the muffler packing is still good. So that's the reason why we chose that. Andrew over at Race Tech got the head work done, basically just did the head. We have stock pistons, stock cams, a stock ECU setting, and he cut the valve seats just for us to really try to enhance what we needed out of this engine. And I wanted to incorporate a stock piston and cam just so we can run super unleaded fuel. Look, if you guys are out in California, you know what the fuel costs are right now. It's outrageous. So we're trying to keep this, at least this engine build, at a lower cost to try to get some of that out on the track, a little bit more oomph out of this CRF250R. Fork, a little bit harsh and rigid in stock form. The guys over there, Rob at Race Tech, went to work on the fork and the shock. Adrian provided us with 23.5 millimeter offset clamps. Ride Engineering makes those. They're split clamps. Also, the stock offset is 22. So like the 450, I got a 23.5, and like how calm it gets, I want to see if that does that to this bike, as well as a full brake system. Ride Engineering sells the Caliper, steel braided brake line, and sets you up like a factory rider, which is really nice. And we have the Justin Brayton Special pull rods. The pull rods are actually a ½ millimeter shorter than stock. We'll talk about that after we ride it. And basically, if you look, Sunstar sprockets, chains, Ride Engineering little caps and trinkets. Not a lot done to this machine, but we try to keep it minimal for your pocketbook and to see if that minimal feel in your wallet can translate that on the track. Can you feel it? We're going to find out. We'll be right back. All right, switch things up a little bit. Rode the Glen Helen REM track, which we call the vet track here in Southern California, because I feel like this build is going to go towards more the vet guy. I put my kid on a Honda when he first came from an 85, 125, and then to get him transitioned into four-strokes, I put him on a Honda because it's a linear bike, easy to ride. So what I wanted out of this, I needed a little bit more bottom end. Honda did that in 22. I just felt like the Honda was lost somewhere between the Yamaha and the KTM. It was in the middle, and I kind of wanted a little bit more front side. So Andrew went to work on the head, and what that did, coupled with the Akrapovic muffler, maybe didn't help the excitement immediately down low, but out of corner, shifting into third gear, I had more meat, I had more pull, which I felt like it needed. I was in a map 3, tried that, then went back out in map 1. And for me, older guy, likes a lot of bottom end, front side. I like map 1 just because it's longer. That with the head and the muffler, man, it really stretched out second gear for me. It's not so short. Adrian at Ride Engineering went down a tooth. So we're on a 49 tooth rear sprocket instead of a 50, which I think is the wrong move for myself. I would like to go to a 50 just to get more excitement. So if I go back to a 50, now with this head, I think I'm going to have more bottom end, more pull than it does right now. So compared to stock, where you're going to notice this head work is right out of a corner, shifting in the third, and then I drag race some guys. Actually had my son's bike, KX250, and in that area, this bike pulls better. Before, I couldn't say that with the stock Honda. So you do get a little bit extra bottom to mid-range, second and third gear. It's not a humongous amount where you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm blown away, but you will be able to feel it. And you can run pump gas, easy to do. If you want to run race gas, I'm sure you can. You'll get a little bit more bottom end, but right now, cost effective, pump gas, you do get a little bit more front side pickup, which I like. I did not notice any more recovery, so if I'm in second gear and I'm bogging out of one of these silt berms, because you know Glen Helen's watered so well in the summertime, it does bog a little bit, so you got to keep your finger on the clutch. But once you stab the clutch a little bit, it gets right back up in the R's. It just wasn't what I expected it to be. So I wanted to have a little bit more recovery and more meat, but nonetheless, I probably can get some of that back with running like a VP T4 race fuel. I want to talk a little bit about this Akrapovic muffler. I have ran other mufflers in the past, stock, Yoshimura, Pro Circuit. The Akrapovic is not known for crack of throttle. It's kind of dead in that area. But once in second gear, area 2 of the corner, this thing pulls really good, and it sounds well. The thing I like about it most is the maintenance factor. I can just leave it on there. It sounds good for a longer period of time. So for me, the Akrapovic system is easy to work with. I can just bolt this thing right on and not have to worry about repacking it every 10 to 12 hours. Now the chassis side of things, probably the most important thing with this Honda in general, 450 and 250, 23.5 split ride engineering clamps. Haven't tried them on the 250. For me, here at Glen Helen, if you guys are looking for a little bit less rigidity out of your Honda, a little bit more comfort on slap down and initial bump absorption, these clamps are really good. I noticed it a little bit on the 450 and I like it, but I really like it on this bike. So I can really throw this bike around more and have more front tire contact patch because of these clamps just soak up a lot of the imperfections out here. So if you're looking for a little bit more calmness out of your 250, look to the 23.5 offset ride engineering split clamps, just because it'll kind of calm that down, and then it doesn't really affect your side-to-side movement. We left the fork height at 5 millimeters just because now we're at 23.5. You can run that fork height back up, and you get nice front wheel traction, good tire bite, and excellent lean angle on throttle. So I like that. This is where this bike lacked. If I'm on edges of my tires coming up these hills, the stock clamp on 22 millimeter side of things just was always edgy. I never felt like it was really planted. But now I feel like I have more rubber to the ground, which gives me confidence. Another portion of this thing that's important is brakes, right? You guys talk about Honda brakes are good. Some of you guys are putting Honda brakes on Yamahas. Adrian makes a complete brake system, caliper, brake line. So what I'd noticed with this is the power is about the same for me with the stock Honda brake versus ride engineering brake. But what you do get, and what I don't like about the Honda, is it's a little grabby. It's a little touchy. Although I do like my brake out a little bit more and have it powerful, the control is just really grabby on the stock Honda. Ride Engineering's brake caliper, you have a lot more of a linear feel, more control. I can drag my front brake in these shallow ruts here at Glen Helen, and I can really get my front tire connected into that shallow rut. So I like that. So if you're looking for a little bit more control with the same amount of power, I feel like, look towards that, and that'll kind of help your chassis feel as well when you're trying to brake hard into some of these corners. So overall, for me, the schematic of the bike is really cool. SDG did a nice job on the seat. Actually, the foam is really nice. I normally have a problem with stock foam breaking down on the Honda just because I hit the edges, hit the subframe. But this is a really nice system, a nice seat. Decal works, always does great with our graphics. It looks good. It's a little bit low of an ODI bar for me. I'm on the Grath bend, but I rolled them up a little bit. Not so bad. I like the flex character of this ODI bar, so that is nice. I'm really picky with rigid bars, so the bars itself is good. Not a huge fan of these grips. They're kind of small for me. I like more of a half waffle feel. This is a half waffle, but the diamond on the downside is really thin. So little things here and there I could change, but man, it's a fun bike to ride. It's been a minute since I rode a 250. This is a consumer-friendly CRF250R. I personally don't think it's a lot of money to get what you're getting out on the track. I noticed things right away once I rolled out there, and it's comfortable, easy to ride. And the last thing I didn't mention, but probably the most important, is suspension on this thing. So along with the chassis parts, you got to have a suspension that works really well. Race Tech at least from what I experienced, they have Honda stuff down really good. They're really good at Showa settings. The gold valves in the fork moves a little bit more, but for here on the West Coast, we have a lot of chop, so you need to have your front wheel follow the ground. The setting that I got is a little bit soft, but man, I have a lot of front traction. Lean angle traction is really good, and it's not so divey that it upsets the chassis coming in the corner. With the linkage, I probably would go back to a stock rod length because it is a little bit of a push going up to the fork. Adrian makes other lengths. You guys can check that out. But the shock setting for me, 105 millimeters. Didn't even bottom this thing out here today, although the vet track is not too gnarly. We're out here at Glen Helen right before the Nationals, so Glen Helen, the big track's pretty gnarly. But there's a lot of big, flat landing jumps here, and I get a lot of comfort. Rode my kid's bike, and his always just felt like it's harsh when the landing, but the shock and the fork made it together with Racetech did. Very comfortable, and for me, that's what I need when I'm getting older. I need comfort. I need a bike that has a lot of control along with the brakes, and so far, right now, it's my first day back on this bike. I'm having a lot of fun. So you want to check out more garage builds, you can check out the archives on our YouTube channel or subscribe. 12 issues, 30 bucks. Some sunshades out right now, a National AMA Motocross sunshades. Looks pretty cool. So it's getting hot outside. It's time to go outdoors. Looking forward to that. Supercross is over. Outdoors is here. So you guys can get your beers out, get your coolers out, get your lawn chairs, and get those sunshades out. 12 issues, 30 bucks. RacerXOnline.com. And we'll see you on the next garage build.